Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. Alrighty, well, we are into part 1 of the reunion. So that'll be something to talk about. And I saw today that Sophie Turner had her article with British Vogue. Did you see that?
I did.
I didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah,
I just saw what Amanda Hirsch posted.
Yeah, I didn't really care to read some of it.
I know. I mean, what were your thoughts on what you did read?
Well, I saw the part where she said something about an eating disorder.
Yeah, did we know that?
I don't think we did, but I guess that makes sense because she is very thin.
Yeah.
Sometimes with celebrities, like, just drop stuff like that, you're like, oh. Like, it just gives you, like, this little, like,
I know, and it's almost, like,
oh.
shocking because you're like, wait a second.
Right.
Did we have this information before, or is this new?
Right, and then I wasn't sure because I wasn't fully reading it if it was, like, she was saying because of the stress of the divorce that was happening, or if this has been, like, an ongoing, like, thing that she's or if it was because of the childbirth. And
yeah, I don't know about, I think it was, well, what I read, it seemed like she said this stress made it flare up. So, but I don't know how long she's had that because, I mean, ever since we saw her in the public eye, like, she's been thin.
Right.
But, I mean, I've never looked at her and been like, oh, my God, she has an eating disorder.
Right.
So I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that either.
I thought, I mean, I think we talked about it on the pod when it was all happening about, like, the media was really painting these unfair depictions.
Yeah. I know when she, like, brought that back up because I had kind of forgotten about it. I was like, geez, oh Pete's, that really, like, took over TikTok.
Yeah, it did.
It was such a, I don't even know. It was just so crazy. And it was still weird that they even got, I mean, obviously we don't know them, but it was just really random. It felt like that they even got the divorce.
I know. Out of nowhere, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, how she was like, you know, we were, in terms of the Jonas Brothers, and she's like, we were always referred to as the wives. And then she's like, as if we were groupies. And I guess I just never really thought of it that way. Like, I never took notice.
Right. I always thought it was, like, cute. It's
Me
like
too.
all the wives are with the brothers. Like, I always thought it was cute.
Me too. Like, oh, they're so supportive. They're all together.
Right.
Like, I thought it seemed like they're just such a good family unit.
Right.
But I guess, you know, I could see how maybe it felt like she didn't have her own identity.
Right.
But
even though she's very successful.
Right. And that's what's like, and then when she talked about moving to LA and how she, like, really didn't like that. But I think I get frustrated with, I mean, when regular people do this too, but particularly with celebrities. Do you people not discuss things before you just jump into marriages and relationships and children? Like, did you not know that you would be moving there? Like, I don't understand that.
I know. And, like, you just got to wonder, too, if that did put such a huge strain on their relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know. And, like, is she not living there now? And then there was the whole Florida. They were, like, down in Florida
Yeah, they were down there.
It's like, what was that? That doesn't seem like...
That's such a random location.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to be in LA, like, but I want to be... And then she was in New York living.
Yeah. Oh, and then I thought, did you see the part where they brought up Taylor? And she was like, well, you know, or she didn't say this as quote, but the article was like, she felt like she couldn't get close with her for obvious reasons. Like, as if Taylor's, you know, few month relationship years ago was a huge wedge between them. And then she's like, yeah, I was going through this, and then I just reached out to Taylor because I knew that she had a place in New York. I'm sorry, and I don't blame her for this at all, but like that was like a media power play. Like I don't believe that you didn't have any conversations with her, and then you're going through this hard time and you're like, you know who I'm going to reach out to?
Right.
The biggest star in New York City. Like I would do the same thing if you're getting all this negative press, you know, and like how great you got a friendship out of it too. But like, you know, I don't think that was just a sweet, innocent conversation that they had. And they just so happened to be photographed going out to dinner so many times.
Right.
You know, but I don't know. I thought it was just like weird to kind of bring that up too. And I get why she's talking about it, and obviously they interviewed her, but I had legitimately forgotten about this entire situation. Like I knew they were divorced, obviously, but it was completely out of my mind.
I know. That's why I was like, oh yeah, that was like a huge thing. I forgot about all the commentary on TikTok and like
it was bad.
Huge. It really was.
And then how like there were people that were in Joe's camp and then people that were completely on Sophie's camp. So there were like two completely flipped like stories and rumors going on.
It's so crazy that like celebrities have to like basically craft. You know, it's like, okay, so we're getting a divorce. Now I have to craft it to the public. Like just to always have to think about what the public wants to hear or if they're going to try to cancel you. Like, well, we're all on tour, so you better make yourself look really good.
I know.
It's just like crazy that you have to like be so strategic for dumb. Or I mean, this isn't dumb, obviously, but it's like
something that shouldn't necessarily be so public.
Especially like a divorce is something that's like pretty ongoing for a long time. And like to have to craft together this like whole thing. And then we're still kind of confused about if his camp really was saying that she was like this crazy party animal. And
I know. I wonder, did they finalize everything? I don't even know where that ended up.
No, and I didn't see like in the glimpse from the article if she said or not.
She just said, you know, he's a great dad and I hope that we can. I mean, it kind of seemed like they weren't in the greatest place because she said hopefully we can co-parent like amicably or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. She seemed pretty like, I don't know, it's pretty sad.
I know, it really is. Like, obviously it's sad anytime a couple like that splits with kids involved, but it was just so out of left field.
I know. It's just like, huh? And they had just like, well, it felt like they had just done that roast.
Yeah.
And like, all of a sudden they're getting a divorce.
Their second kid was pretty young. Like it is. Yeah. That's just wild.
And then she would always say like that nice stuff about him, about how she's like, I'm crying because I'm on my period and he's being so wonderful.
I know. So I wonder really what was the straw that broke the camel's
when it was
back?
allegedly on the, what was it, on the Ring camera or something.
I know. Was that true or not?
Right. I know.
We will never know, probably.
No, I don't know.
And then just the way that she moved on, like relatively fast, makes you think that she, like that always makes me think that that party had been checked out of the relationship for a while.
Right.
So if that was the case, why? Like what happened? Right. You know, was it because they were on tour?
Right. Or like, is it because I always feel like celebrities, I think some of them have like kind of more normally relationships, but I feel like they're always like separated.
Yeah.
Not really living like a life together. And then it's like, well, I guess this doesn't make sense anymore. So we should just be done.
And then their rebound rate is so crazy.
Yes. Because it's like, well, And when there's so many options, it's like, well, who doesn't want to date Joe Jonas or like
that's so true.
Sophie Turner? It's like, sure, let's go.
Yeah, like she's so stunning. It's like, who wouldn't want to be with her?
Right.
Even if she wasn't a celebrity, you'd still be like, wow, what an interesting, cool, beautiful girl.
Like
they're lining up.
Literally.
But it is just interesting, though, because both of them are pretty private people. Like, even though they're celebrities, obviously, we didn't know a ton about their personal lives. So to hear her open up about this was just, I don't know, it's just different.
I know. It is always surprising when a celebrity, like, we never hear from them. Because I feel like they don't really... Like, I feel like there was that time, like, when social media first started, they were, like, you know, on it all the time. And then all of a sudden they wanted to be super private. Now all we get is, like, curation.
Yeah.
And then when they do, like, a interview like this, you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot. You, like, are a person.
I know.
And, like, oh, no, it is weird. Like, we just don't get to hear from celebrities like we used to.
No, we had that small glimpse of it when we were all going crazy in COVID. Where celebrities, everybody was just like posting unhinged content.
Going nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that was interesting. She looked great in the pictures that I saw, but
I know she's a pretty gal.
I was just surprised to see it.
I know. I saw a picture of Tom Holland and Zendaya, and I think it's like kind of cute to see like the guys that are shorter and the girls that are taller. I don't know if it would be like I feel like if that was the case for me, I would wear heels all the time. That way people would be like, oh, well, she's got heels on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of funny. They're another one of those couples that was, maybe that's what it was.
I just personally, because I am already like barely 5'2",
right?
If I was with a man that was shorter than me, it would just be odd.
Right.
Like, there are not even many of them out there.
Right.
And that would be insane. Like, no one is freaking shorter than me. Like, that'd be a find. I'd have to really search for one.
Right.
But I don't even know how tall Zendaya is. 5'7"? That's what I would guess.
I think she's taller than that.
Really?
I thought she was like 5'10" or something.
Oh, maybe Tom Holland's like 5'8", maybe?
Let's see. Well, 5'8" in boy height or in girl height?
So true.
She's 5'10".
Okay, you were right.
So then Tom Holland.
She's so beautiful and tall and thin and model-like.
Gorgeous.
I know.
So Tom Holland is 5'7".
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I mean...
I don't know how tall is Sophie Turner.
She's got to be like...
5'9"?
I bet she's, 5'9" or 5'10". And Joe Jonas is probably like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, they're not very tall guys.
No.
Oops.
They're not.
She's 5'9".
Okay.
Dang.
Oh my God, look at you. Like, you're on point.
What the? I must be good at that.
How are you so good at guessing heights of people you've never met?
And of course, this is what the internet's 5'7".
Wow. Okay.
While Nick takes the Short King trophy with his 5'6". And then Kevin is 5'9".
Okay. I knew Nick was the shortest.
Well, how tall is Priyanka?
I bet she's like 5.
She's probably 5'6" too, or
Yeah,
5'5"
5'7".
maybe. She's 5'6".
Gosh, darn it! How are you? That's like
a
dumbest,
gift.
like your talent. Like when you go around for an icebreaker.
Like, I know how tall celebrities are without looking.
Niche celebrities.
I could be that one. Have you ever seen that guy on TikTok where he's like, guess how tall I am? And then he goes and he like does the whole thing. Like, well, you're standing next to this wall.
Yeah, he finds
and this water bottle is, whatever inches.
Have you seen the other guy? I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but where it'll be like, yeah, actually, I was there when this happened, and if you look at my other TikTok, and he's like, were you there? And then he goes through this whole saga. Like, that is some insane detective work.
I know. I saw that one girl where the guy's like, this guy gets on there and he's like, you can't find anything about me. My Facebook is completely private and I don't have any other social medias. And she goes, cracks her knuckles. And like literally fully found him. It was insane.
It is wild. But that just goes to show people think that they, aren't giving anything away.
They want, all these like CIA people and government people to have all these degrees and stuff. But you could find some freaking teenage kids that could freaking hack and do everything else way better than some hire these kids.
There are literally some times where I've never gone as wild as some ones.
I give up pretty easily.
Yeah, and especially if I'm doing it on my computer versus my phone. But I don't know. There's times where I'm like, damn, I can't believe I found this, So it just goes to show it's you just got to know where to look. You just got to know how to.
And if you got the resources and the softwares, it's we're finding stuff, man.
I know. You're right. We don't need these degrees.
No, just let these kids come in. We'll probably freaking fix everything.
It's terrifying.
It really is.
What we can find.
I know, if you just give these kids the power.
I know.
They're gonna do it.
I know. I wanted to say with bringing up Taylor, I heard on Juicy Scoop today or I guess it was yesterday, how Heather McDonald is concerned that Taylor is going to start getting the ick from Travis when we saw the recent footage of him dancing at some of was it her Paris concert?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was up by the stage at one point, and then he was up in a box or whatever with Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid. And I'm like, I could kind of see it happen.
I don't know. If Gigi Hadid wanted me to dance, I'd be freaking dancing like a goober.
I know, that is such a Bradley Cooper looked like a fool out there.
But they were all looking at each. She's in the middle, and they're looking at her, and she's looking at them.
It's just
and how he had the flash on when he was videoing her. That was funny. The brightest flash literally
imaginable.
Ever.
I guess I just don't know. And I'm not a major pop star, so I have no idea what I would want or how it all feels. But maybe because Taylor's previous relationships, they were kind of more behind closed doors, and we didn't hear a lot about the men in her life outwardly supporting her, and he seems to be completely going out of his way to be at a ton of her concerts, and then she was at a ton of his games. Maybe you would want that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cute, that little video where she's standing there and he comes up behind her and kisses her shoulder.
Oh, at that gala thing or charity
and she was
thing. I know, it's almost I mean, I guess I just don't know. Will you ever get annoyed with that? I don't know. I don't know how I would feel. Because I think you would love it, and obviously Travis Kelce is such a babe,
right?
But is there a point where you're just chill out? I don't know,
right? I mean, they're a couple of millennials.
That's true. So they're gonna be obsessed with each other, and
it's gonna be like that. They're probably having avocado toast, playing The Sims,
making stupid goofy jokes that no one else finds funny except for other millennials,
right? Yeah, so.
I don't know. Heather's he needs to put a ring on it soon. She thinks that he's gonna start a music career. Like, I truly, if that happened, that would be like, I don't
Maybe
know.
she'll feature him in the
That
next
would be
album.
crazy.
Do
That
a
would-
little rap thing. I feel like she would do that too.
I
Like,
think
all right. She freaking let Joe allegedly write music on the other
that's
ones.
true with his, what do they call that? It's when they have like a fake name.
I can't remember
Me
what that's called.
either.
I know, my not pen name, but the
Whatever. Everybody listening
monogram.
will know, but we can't think
William Bowery.
of it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that at times, like a lot of millennials, they can be cringe, and we are also in that boat. So
I am also a
I think we
cringy
also
millennial.
can be cringy. But it's like, I guess, maybe they won't find each other cringy because they're both
Right.
the same.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it seems pretty personality
Is meshing.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, because so many people were like, he's going to propose. They're going to be like on the fast track. Like, I wonder if that will happen or not.
I know. I don't know. I could see it being either way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they're going to want to wait super long, though, because
Right,
obviously, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say
this.
obviously. I'm assuming that they want a family just because
Right.
that's something that Travis has been vocal about in the past. But I don't know. They're both, I mean, she's not slowing down.
No.
And I don't think he is either. So
we shall see.
I feel like it could go one of two ways where they would either secretly get married and then we wouldn't find out.
Right.
Or it would be like the biggest blowout celebration ever.
I know that it's like they're posting it on Instagram,
Like
the wedding photo
yeah.
in their stories.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be fun though to see. Like that'd be cute.
Can you imagine like the bridesmaids, Blake Lively, Gigi Hadid?
No, I can't. It would be too much.
My head would explode if there'd be so many celebrities there.
It would be like not one single normal person. It would be all celebrity.
I know. Because he wants to have like a big old rage.
Oh, yeah.
That'll probably be like a 6-day thing.
What do you feel? Okay, that's like what, because like I think about that too. Like Travis is such a babe, and I think he has like a fun little personality, and I like that he can be a little like fratty, but like, and I don't, it's like they're not normal people, so you can't really compare it to a normal person, but like, what would you feel if like your boyfriend was like sometimes like acting a fool when he's like intoxicated, chugging beers and making whatever like on camera? Like, I don't know if I think at first I'd probably be like,
this is funny. I don't know, honestly, because I just don't really drink.
I know.
Much. So it's kind of like it'd be a little weird for
me
you personally, but I don't know. I mean, Taylor likes drinking too.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess if we're talking like this was literal like us with Travis Kelce, I would probably let a lot of things slide.
Right.
With that type of behavior. I'd be like inside, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But outside I'd be like, that is so funny. But if it was like somebody that I met from our hometown, I think I'd be like over it.
Right.
Because the charisma is just not the same.
Right.
Like it's cool when a guy who just won the Super Bowl is doing that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
And she's just never been with somebody like that before.
Right.
So, I don't know. A lot of things just feel new. But I guess we'll never really know.
Right.
So, anyway. She's still killing it. When is she done? Is she doing? She's doing another leg in the U.S. or not?
I don't think so.
No,
not that I know of anymore. Actually, yeah, I think she was supposed to do like Indianapolis or something, and or did she already do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought there was like a little bit extra in the U.S. maybe,
but then is it going to be done after summer?
I believe so.
God, that's a whole year.
I know.
That's crazy. That is so exhausting.
I know. Like a 3-hour show night after night.
That girl's got to be getting like IV drips every single night. Like they just pump her full of all the vitamins and everything.
She's probably all like amped up afterwards.
Yeah.
She's probably up for all hours of the night.
How do you even sleep?
Right.
I don't know. Oh, did you see that they announced the Golden Bachelorette?
I did. I like saw it literally on a TikTok popped up. I'm like, did we know that she was going to be it?
No, I think it was just announced today.
Yeah. And that was the one that left early because something happened, right?
Yeah, it was like her daughter had the baby or something.
It was a bad birth.
Yeah. What was her name? Jane? Joan. Okay, you're right. And then again, Heather McDonald was like, I am freaking out because I made a prediction back when this was airing. And it was that if they do a Golden Bachelorette, they're going to need to have somebody who is like older, like in the golden era, but looks really good and looks younger. And she like specifically said this woman, because it was before she left. And then she's like, and the men will have to be like 40 to 63. And it's like, that is literally what is happening. But
we don't have the guys yet.
No, I'm very curious to see.
This is going to be
it could
interesting.
Be not good.
I really hope they get some good people.
I mean, I don't want to be this way, but I think it's easier to find some older women.
I agree, because they're going to be more open to the experience. They're going to have more camaraderie. And I feel like we're just going to get a bunch of crotchety. I know.
Or like creepers. Yeah. Or like little horn dogs. Right? Like
literally all over little Joe.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that. Like, that's just gross. And she seems so sweet.
I know. I was thinking, I don't think we ever really talked much about Gary and Teresa. But I feel like when you have people that are older like that, it's like one thing with the younger people and they have like the siblings and the parents. But when you're dealing with people's kids, like adult children getting involved, it's like that just, I feel like, brings a whole other level of like, I don't even know, drama and like opinions. And then they're not going to want to leave their adult children and their grandchildren.
I think it's a lot easier for things to go bad.
Yes.
Because like if your kids or your grandkids don't mesh with this person, like how the heck are you going to stay? And it's like your grown kids. Like
it's like not like,
adults.
Well, you're 10 years old. Get over it. Yeah. It's like full-blown adults.
Yeah.
And it's like if they are, really like their dad or their whatever mom and they're comparing it to this new person, it just feels like it gets really complicated. And then if you have like a whole life that revolves around like your adult children, it's like...
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see how... Teresa, and I think like the majority of the other women on that show had kids and grandkids. And I can see why you wouldn't want to leave that.
Right.
You could say like it might be more difficult as the woman in that situation. But I think even for like men or women, when it's your grandkids, like I think that's a whole different story.
And if you're looking at like, let's say you got 3 kids and they all live in the area that you live in, and then he has kids, in Florida and I don't know, Tennessee, it's like somebody's gonna have to like
give.
Yeah.
Well, I did think that's what was kind of strange about the Teresa Gary thing,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like she said, like, I will move for you, and then all of a sudden that's the reason why they're not.
So if that was the truth or whatever.
That's what I mean. Like, it made me feel like something must have happened, or maybe the family did say something, and we're probably never going to hear about that. But it is hard. But I do think, like, with the men being, the ones vying for Joan's attention, it's going to be more like single guys that like never had a family, or maybe they, got divorced, but they didn't have kids or whatever. Like, I think that's going to be more common. I don't know. I think that's going to be.
It's going to be, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I guess I might watch it.
But I'll probably watch the beginning to
and see like what the men are like. It is disappointing that like the Golden Bachelor didn't work out.
I know,
because it was like, really?
Well, the whole time we're like, this is making me believe in love.
And then 3 months later,
they fully got married. That's the crazy thing. Why did they rush to get married then?
I know. It's like, oh, we don't got time. It's like, well, okay, we've barely known each other for like a year.
Yeah.
You're going to like her. And I know sometimes people do that, but it's like, I don't know. Marriage is, to me, just call me old fashioned, but it just feels so high stakes.
I know.
Like financially, if you're the woman and you change your name and your banking, and it's like buying things together. Like, I just don't understand, like, why can't you just like date?
But clearly for them, I mean, the wedding was paid for because it was on TV. Neither of them moved. I would hope that she had a prenup because she's the breadwinner there.
Signs in his eyes.
Yeah. Like, so maybe it wasn't, but it's still, even if there aren't all those extra things, it's like, you still have to file for divorce.
Right. And that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, like you said, it's high stakes in the sense, too, of like, I feel like that's like the ultimate commitment.
Yeah. Like, we're getting married.
And it's like you're doing all these things to make a life together.
Right.
So if you're not ready to fully commit to making that life together, then why don't you just wait?
Right.
Like,
literally.
Why do you need to?
Or let's figure this out. Like, where are we going to live allegedly if that was the issue? Like, why do we'll worry about it later.
I know. Like, was that just such a rash decision because they are in their 70s and it was like, the clock's a ticking.
I know. Or like, did they feel like they owed it to the audience?
Yeah, I don't know.
After everybody's like, you made us believe in love. It's like, maybe
I thought it was
shocking
that they got married so fast.
Me too. But it just seemed like they were trying to like appease
everybody else.
The show. Yeah. Like, it was just like this big
production. Did you think, or did you watch their wedding?
No, I didn't.
Me either. I didn't have any desire to do that.
It seemed like it was like the bachelor event of the year. All the people were there. I was like, oh.
They were probably told to come.
You're like, yeah, we'll go. We never met you. But hey, we'll be at your wedding.
I know. Sometimes I mean, as far as I know, they're real. But sometimes I'm like, are these bachelor weddings legitimate?
I know. You're like,
because
you find out later that they were never married at all.
I mean, you literally like only had your parents and one sibling there.
Right.
Like, would you really get married with only that small amount of family and friends, and everybody else is from the franchise?
Freaking Bachelor Nation.
That's wild.
It is wild. And then you have to go around and like, hi, thanks for coming. It's like, what?
I know.
And it was like the whole like, I don't know. I didn't really feel like, I know people were trying to be like, see, Gary is awful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I really just would like this show, since it has to have such quick turnaround, if they could actually like get some decent people, like
Yeah.
that way we don't have this like. But then again, it's like if you have older people, like they're gonna be set in their ways.
Mhm.
They're not gonna care what they say, you know.
I know. And he might have not even seen an issue with, anything.
Right.
Like how it didn't really seem like he was super remorseful with how he treated that other girl, that other woman. I can't remember what her name was. Whatever. But yeah, he didn't really come off well there.
No, or then when he was like, he allegedly dated this one woman.
Yeah.
And like, what did they say? And then he kicked her out and made her pay for half a dinner.
And he like wanted to just keep up appearances all the time. Like he had a class reunion coming up and he's like, I can't bring you to that.
Like you need
But I can absolutely hear that coming out of a man in his like late 60s mouth.
Literally.
Or even the dinner thing where it was like, well, give me cash and then I'll pay for the whole dinner so it looks like I'm paying for everything. Like, I can totally see that.
Literally.
Do I think it's okay? No, but I can see it. I believe that.
So anyway, well, hopefully Joan finds.
I know. I wonder when that's starting. It must be. Do you think it's summertime? Or do you think that it's
maybe they're going to film in the summer.
And then it'll come out in the fall?
Probably.
Well.
Sounds right.
I honestly did not read the article. I just saw that
I still think it would be cool that once we have like this season to do like the Golden Bachelor in Paradise, like I would watch that. Like just to see everybody the old folk. Up. Like that would be great.
By Viagra.
Yeah. Like that would literally be great.
Because older people too are so funny when they get a few drinks.
I know. You're like, oh, I'm feeling you on. Just to see them all being all like horned up on the beach.
Aphrodisiacs everywhere.
Yeah. They're all eating, what is it, clams or something?
Oysters. Yeah, that'd be funny.
It would be funny. Maybe they'll do it.
Maybe they will. Yeah, I mean, this is basically all that this franchise is riding on now is the Golden Bachelor, Bachelorette.
And then if this doesn't work out,
then what are they going to do?
Like, are they never going to do it again?
Because I don't think that many people cared about this Joey Bachelor.
No, it seemed like people were, I guess I saw some TikToks and stuff, but that could have just been because I was watching too many of them or something. Yeah, I don't know. Or he was like too nice. Like it worked out too nicely. So then
no one had anything to really say. Yeah, or he was kind of like boring.
Yeah, I know people were talking about that. Was it Maria? Is that the right name?
Is she the one that went on Call Her Daddy?
Yeah.
I saw that she was on there, but I didn't really know who she was.
Yeah, I just knew she was like, I don't know, everybody liked her or something.
Oh, I saw a clip from her on there, though, and it was some little, like, I don't know, kind of like conspiracy theory where she was trying to explain how somebody was trying to make her be the bad guy, and it was somebody on the show that, like, twisted this stuff around. And I, like, didn't understand it because I didn't watch the season at all. So I'm like, well, did this really affect you in the season, or is it just like interesting information that you're putting out now?
You know, I mean, I know we've talked about this before with like producers and they try to make me the villain and stuff, but I'm still seeing you like say it on camera. Right? It's like there's only so much you can, like, well, it was out of context. Okay, well, saying I hate you and you're stupid isn't
like, how do you put that in context?
I know, like, what exactly did that mean then?
Unless before that was so and so said, and you're repeating, but it still is like, why are you telling this person that? You know, like, I don't know. Yeah, you still, I mean, this is one of the things that we agree with Nick Vial on. It's like, even though maybe the producers did paint you a certain way, you still said
made the actions.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe it's coming across badly because
you actually
come across badly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
even if that's not really how you are, it just was like the environment. It's still like you in the environment.
Yeah. And I mean, if they say they edit out all the nice, good things that you did, it's like, well, I mean, you still did all these crappy things. So, I mean, are you just trying to defend that, like, you actually did
like,
good things to balance it out?
But then, like, if you were, like, the hero of the season, you know, you're fine. No, they really captured my true personality.
Right.
But if you're, like, the villain, no,
that's
that was
not
all
me
them.
at all.
Yeah, it's like,
okay, I don't know if I believe that.
Literally.
Yeah. But I didn't listen to her episode of Call Her
No,
Daddy,
I didn't
so
either.
I don't even know what she was talking about, honestly. But anyway. Yeah, I'll probably watch a few, like the first few episodes of Golden Bachelorette just to see what it's like. But if it's annoying and the guys are annoying, then I probably won't stick around.
Or if they're like cute and sweet, then I definitely might watch.
Yeah.
I'll have to see.
I do wonder if they ask her, like, how young are you willing to go?
Right.
You know, because, I mean, I don't know if she's in her 70s or if she's in her 60s. I think she might be in her 60s.
Yeah, I can't remember how old she was.
But, like, would you be willing to go 40? Like, that's still 20 years younger. Like, that's a big age gap. But she looks amazing.
Right.
You know?
I know, that is a tough one because it's like, it's so hard when you're like, I don't even know. I guess it's like the lifestyle too. Like if she's up moving around and traveling a lot, it's like regardless of age, they have to be willing to do that too.
Yeah.
If she wants to be more quiet-lived, then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I am a little surprised though that she agreed to do it because I guess now like that grandchild is, you know, well over a year or whatever.
Right.
But it's still, I mean, family seems super important to her.
She dropped everything.
Yeah. What if she does that in the middle of the season?
Literally in ruins.
Yeah.
Then they bring in who's the Kris Jenner lookalike? They bring her in to finish out the season.
That would be funny. She'd at least be entertaining.
I know.
Her and the other one that was a little zany.
Oh, yeah.
They were buddies.
They were. I can't remember her name. I can't remember their name.
I thought of it earlier when we were talking about the other one that was the final two, and I can't remember what it is. Anyway, whatever. It was too long ago. We've moved on. We cared about them so much before.
I can't remember their names. I listened to the book Beautiful Boy, which I haven't watched the movie yet. And the movie had Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell in it.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
That was from a few years ago, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, I don't know when the movie came out. I feel like it may have even been like 28. I don't know. 19, 20, somewhere in there. It was good. It's so exhausting to listen to books about addiction. And I know we've talked about this before too, but I'm just like can't relate to that. But this was interesting because it was actually from the perspective of not the person. Like, you know, like I listened to Matthew Perry's book, Anthony Kiedis, Kat Marnell, and it's like you don't really get the full effect. And I feel like a lot of the times they don't really talk about how much that they're affecting their loved ones through their addictions. And to hear like the dad talk about it, and just even when he's like, I know I'm like kind of enabling him, and I'm like still doing it anyway. And just how consumed the dad's life was with his son, because it was a meth addiction. And just how consumed he was with it, and how it was affecting his younger two kids. And they lived in the San Francisco area, so it was like he was like out on the streets sometimes and everything. But it was a good book, but they're just like I had a hard time, not because it was bad, just because it's so exhausting.
Yeah, that's heavy.
It is. And then it's like he's calling the dad, like he relapsed again, and he like the one time he was like 2 years sober and just like relapsed.
And then you're like, you're kidding me.
Gosh, I know.
So is Timothy Chalamet's the addict, and then Steve Carell's the father in the movie.
Yes,
Okay.
which is actually there was a part in the book that I thought was kind of crazy. They were because the kid or the son in the book's name is Nick, and they one of the siblings, the younger siblings, like they were looking at Bob Dylan, and they're like, he kind of looks like Nick, and Timothy Chalamet is literally playing Bob. I'm like, that was great casting, and like the cover of the audiobook is Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet.
That's
so I had to like
wild.
I know. And so then when I looked up the kid that the real Nick, he like looks like Timothy Chalamet.
Oh my
and like I
gosh.
was like, what?
So is it fully a true story, or is it based on
the book or the
book?
The book, yeah.
It's fully
written,
true.
Yeah, it's from the dad
perspective. Okay, gotcha.
But I could totally see how they could make it a movie because of like the way because he like really paints a picture of like different situations and stuff. And so I'm looking forward. Well, once I watch the movie, it's on Prime, streaming on Prime right now.
All these freaking random movies that I want to see are on Prime, and I don't have it. And it's like, I cannot get another streaming service.
Literally.
I can't do it.
Literally. So it is. But when I watch it, I'll let everybody know how it. But it's just crazy that it's like he was casted so well, apparently.
Yeah, that is almost a little creepy.
I know. When they were like Bob Dylan, I'm like, hold up.
Yeah.
He's literally playing
like, did they do this on purpose?
I know, it was literally
did it spark
insane.
something?
I know, especially because it was so, several years ago.
Yeah.
I thought that was really crazy.
I do think, we talked about like Josh Peck's book and stuff before. I thought that he did a pretty good job of talking about how his addiction affected others. And, he wasn't like so deep into meth or anything like that, which is super, I think is different than alcohol or whatever. But it is just like, I don't think that unless people do a lot of therapy and family therapy or couples therapy with their loved ones, like they don't really get how it affected them. And because it's not just like, oh, I know it hurt you. It's like you said, it is all consuming. Like the smallest things in somebody's life are impacted by someone else's addiction, like a loved one's addiction. And I don't know if they always recognize that, especially if they're newly coming out of it or they relapse multiple times.
I know it is
a lot.
It is. And he's like, I would just like look up stuff about meth all the time. And he's like, I was mentally prepared to hear that my son was going to die.
Yeah.
All the time. And he's like, and I wasn't being, and I'm like, he's like, he wasn't neglecting his other kids, but he wasn't up to par with what he should have been. And then the kids would, it's like, I'd just be in the grocery store and start crying, and my other younger kids would see it. And it is like really sad.
Those are the things you don't even think about,
And he's like, ugh. But yeah, it was so it's just so stressful to read these addiction books. Like it just like Matthew Perry's book was so stressful. And then it's like just so sad, obviously what the outcome of that was. Just like, ugh.
Yeah, that is. It's like hard to talk about. Then it is, we don't have that close encounter with addiction ourselves. So it's, even that is a whole nother level where we can't fully comprehend,
I know, my gosh. Ugh. I know. And it's like with his son, Nick, he was just so charismatic and like just cool, and he would always be so good with his siblings, but then he would like be gone and do like this shady stuff. And I do feel the only thing I kind of like felt like with the book was I didn't feel like I feel like the dad tried really hard not to put his son in like a really bad light. Like he would say like a few things, but it's like, there was just way worse stuff, and like the dishonesty and the deception and like the type of person he was being, and he like wasn't really including that in the book.
Yeah, which I mean, you can see why, but yeah,
it's like I feel like I don't know. I guess that's kind of a complicated.
Damn, that's a heavy read.
It was. I had a hard time getting through it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this was my kid? And then he's like, I'm trying to figure out where it happened, because him and his wife got a divorce, and then he remarried, and the 2 younger kids are from that. But she lived in LA, like the LA area, and then he was in the San Francisco area, so it's like a lot of traveling for the kid.
The better of 2 evils. Like, literally, sorry, but for addiction, neither of those cities are great.
Well, and then the son would have to he would live with his dad through this like day to day, and then he would go with the mom during the holidays in the summer. And then sometimes he would like come back in the summer. So it was like this kid is just like
back and forth.
He's like, is that what had to do with it? Should I just try to work it out with his mom? Like he was like trying to figure out where it went wrong. Because they definitely seemed like pretty wealthy, because they would like pay for his rehabs. Like the mom would sometimes, and then he would sometimes. So I'm like, so they're pretty wealthy. So it's like, you would think that he would have like a good life and not want to do this, but they pretty much said it like started in high school or like kind of junior high, like sneaking alcohol when they were like on a family vacation and stuff like that. So it's almost like he just was like destined.
I know. You wonder with that, because I mean, I have a member of my family who was an alcoholic or is an alcoholic, and it's like, I know for other members of my family, they always like try to understand like, yeah, but this person wasn't like that, or his dad wasn't like that, or did it come from this? And it's like, sometimes I don't think it's that simple. Right. Like, I don't think that it's just, oh, it runs in your family, or, oh, you had this traumatic event. I think sometimes it's just so much more complicated, and it literally could be a chance encounter, or that just happens to take you down this path, and like
the friend, because even when he was like in high school and stuff, he would have like certain friends, like he was more wanted to be around the people who did kind of like the smoking and all that, like even in high school. So it's like he's surrounding himself with these types of people too, and like kind of viewing himself as like a tortured artist. So it's like, I know, I really do wonder about it. It's always so confusing.
I know it is. I mean, yeah, it's not like the most uplifting thing to talk about, but it is just really
fascinating.
It is, and it can just, I know there's so many different layers to it all.
I know.
And every story is different. They're not,
I know.
It's not so cut from the same cloth.
Right. I was just talking about Timothy Chalamet. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were like talking about like and we've talked about this too, like where are the movie stars? And they were like talking about Timothy Chalamet, and they're like, he can't be the last one. It's like he's the only one we're hiring right now.
Literally.
We can't just stop there. But it kind of feels like, I mean, there's obviously a couple other people, but it's like he's in everything.
Zendaya's been in a lot. Like
Sydney Sweeney, Margot Robbie.
Because she's a different generation, though. I mean,
she is
same kind of, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, she's not too much older.
No, but she's. I don't know. I mean, she's like catching her stride kind of at the same time as these people. But
and then she's like, well, it feels like, you know, I keep seeing all this stuff popping up that she's like producing this and getting her hands on this. It's like she's like the only one with their freaking hands and everything.
I know.
It's like, what is going on here?
Where's everybody else?
Literally, because I don't even know. Like sometimes on TikTok, I'll see like the young people like talking about a certain actor or something, and I'm like, who is this? And then they're like, oh, he's on some random show I've never seen. I'm like,
it's just because, like we said before, we're too oversaturated. Like when we were younger, and we were so into the pop culture stuff because there was E-News, there was like Entertainment Tonight, there were Us Magazine, People, In Touch, like that's the only way that we got our information. Press Hilton, but we didn't even go on there very often. It's like that's how we got our stuff. But now it's like there's TikToks and there's algorithms, and it's like you're literally missing a lot of information. Right. And there's so many streaming services and platforms that there's just these actors out there that kind of fly under the radar for a while. And it's like, well, if they've been on Prime, like for me, I'm not going to see that show because I don't have that. Whereas if they were on like a movie that was in the theaters back in like 2003, I would have gone to the theaters probably and saw the movie. Right. I know this YouTuber I watch, her name is Mina Lee or whatever. And she just put out a video. I haven't watched it yet. And it's like, is streaming, like, I can't remember what she said, but she does like these commentary type things. But it was about streaming. And I was just reading the comments and people are like, there's just too many streaming networks. It's like, how are we supposed to watch anything? You know, it's like at that point, back when we just had cable, it was like everything was right there. Yeah, right. And like somebody brought up the point too, where it's like, we binge watch something, which we've talked about, and then you just forget about it. Yeah. And you don't think about it again. You might not even go to the next season because you just don't care. Yeah, you're over it. Yeah. Instead of that like suspense of every week. We just like hardly do that anymore. I know. Just speaking of like the streaming services and movies and stuff, I saw that Iron Claw is on HBO Max. Oh, it's like, okay, well, never gonna see. I know. That. Like, and how do they pick who gets what? I don't know. And I was at like a meeting for this thing that I'm a part of, and we were at this restaurant, and there were TVs there, and it was showing like a preview for it. It's like Zac Efron has the acting of his life and the role of his life, and it's so incredible. And I'm just like, I'm never gonna see it. Well, I will never see it until HBO lets it go and it trickles down to Hulu or something. It's like, I'm never going to get to watch that movie. I know, and there's literally no other way to access the movies. I know. Or certain movies without the special stream, unless you literally buy a DVD. Yeah. But at that point, I don't even have anywhere to play a DVD. I don't have a DVD player or a slot in my computer. I know, we're gonna have to go back to like downloading them from the internet illegally. I know, like a cut rate version or that like a million ads pop up and I'm just scared like, I just downloaded something bad. Or literally you can see the movie theater and like the people at the bottom of the screen. The like, person coughing as they record. I know. It sucks. That frustrates me. Like, because I want to see these movies or these shows. Yeah. And even with like, you know, not to go back to like the Zendaya thing, but like with Euphoria, it's like I watched that show basically based on freaking TikTok clips that I found. And like some accounts on TikTok, you can literally watch a full movie. Oh, I know. Like I remember the Twilight one. It was like, oh, I'm just watching Twilight. Flip. I know. Watch a little 248. Yeah. I know. Like, it's like you can. And at this point, it's like, well, I'm going to just freaking do that, you know? I know. Until those people get caught and then the audio gets taken away. Yeah, God dang it. I know. Yeah. It's it's annoying. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it before and we don't really have the answers, but it's just like, I don't know where we fully go from here. And it just doesn't, it just is so oversaturated. And I personally feel like I can't keep up with everything.
No, literally.
You know?
And you're like, watch this. And then I feel like you can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah.
Guess you just don't. I guess I never know.
Maybe that's why I look at like the Met Ball or the Oscars and I'm like, who are these people? It's because I haven't seen their stuff.
I know. Or like even like I mean there's still like some YouTube videos and stuff that I like, or like YouTubers, but even that, it's like I don't even know what kind of content I want anymore. Like I'm not like emotionally, you know, like you're so emotionally invested in, you know, the certain actors, and that's why you're going to go see their movies. And I don't know if that's what's happening now with like, you know, Timothée Chalamet getting hired for everything. It's like, well, we know people like him, so if we get him in, then we can get more people. Yeah.
I do think the like just how our algorithms are so personalized too, like that really deters stuff. Because even like if we're on our TikTok, like just as an example, like I finally just followed Paris Hilton because I love seeing stuff with her kids.
No, they're so
but
cute.
Like I would see her stuff every now and again, and then it was like a while I didn't see anything. Right. So it's like small changes in the algorithm like really can impact who you even are aware of and who you're seeing stuff from. So there's somebody who like lives next door to you who probably has a completely different outlook on pop culture because what they're seeing is different. Yeah.
I know.
That's wild.
It really is. It's fascinating.
I know.
Or like sometimes it's too curated to you where you're like, what happened to like randomness? Like even just my YouTube, it's like, you know, it's like exactly what I would watch, but I want to see other stuff too. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a complicated.
Or then it just goes to, well, this is who you're following. Yeah. And then you're just getting all that. It's like, well, where's the new stuff? I know.
Like I want to explore a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time. A weird time that we're in.
I don't know what Hollywood's gonna do, but
I wanted to say real quick, even though it was a horrible movie, but I told you I watched Night Swim, and it was on like Hulu or what was it on Peacock? I don't know. It doesn't matter what it was on, but I just wanted to watch it. And Wyatt Russell was
that the dad?
Yeah, and that's Kate Hudson's brother.
Okay. Oh yeah.
From Different Mom. Yeah.
I heard he did really good with what he had, but that the movie was
like I thought he actually was a good actor, and I think I've seen him in maybe like something else random. I couldn't even tell you right now, but. Yeah, I was like surprised. There were moments where I'm like, wow. And I don't know if it's because it was so bad that like he just looked great. Yeah. And everybody else around him was just not. Yeah. But like, I mean, I just hate it when a scary movie, it's like that could have been a cool concept. Right. But it just went to a place that was so ridiculous.
I know it does. It's like you want to be like, thanks for the originality, but like
it was so awful. Bad. Yeah, like the concept was like this pool is evil basically, and it's like okay, like I can get behind that. I mean, it's the old trope of so many people move there, and there's disappearances or killings, and other people move out, whatever. But then it started to get to the point where we are going into like a different dimension in the pool, and it was making no sense at all. And you're just like, this pool isn't like a bottomless pit. Like it was so absurd. It was so absurd. And then just things start to not add up, and you're like, who was keeping track of the facts?
Right.
And like, it was just weird. And then the way it ended, I'm like, okay.
Right.
Like, that is so anticlimactic
Right.
and stupid. But there were a couple moments where it kind of made you, it was just like jump scares and stuff, but it was definitely nothing that I would recommend to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, but it was just, he was a good actor. I'd be interested to see him in something for real with like actual, like other actors that are seasoned around him.
Right. I know. It's like, okay. But then it'll be on HBO and then you won't be able
I know, I won't be able to watch. This was his low level, the beginnings of his career. I'll never see anything else. Oh. Anyway, well, should we take a little break?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys, it's no secret that Hannah and I have a sweet tooth, but we hate the guilt that we feel after we've binged on some of our favorite cookies, donuts, or other treats. So that's where Dough comes in. Dough is an edible cookie dough company that also has donut holes and some delicious chocolate hazelnut spreads that you can eat and not feel so guilty afterwards. These treats are made with extra ingredients that are good for you, gives you extra energy, makes you focus more, and the best part is that they are vegan and gluten-free, which is so amazing and something that you don't find all the time. And sometimes when you get vegan or gluten-free products, they taste vegan and gluten-free, but these dough, cookie doughs, and donut holes do not skimp out on the flavor, and they are so delicious. We have tried the cookie dough raw and baked, and it's good either way. And one of our favorite new donut holes are the collab donut holes with Chamberlain coffee, and it's the cinnamon sugar, and these are just so amazing. You want to eat them with your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. They're just so delicious. And the best part is that they come with some extra vitamins in there to, you know, get your day going and help you focus a little bit more. So if you want to try these vegan, gluten-free, and delicious products, you can go to Eat Dough, and that's spelled DEUX.com to place an order. And if you use the code WaterBottle15, you can get an extra 15% off of whatever you order. That is dough, spelled DEUX, and use WaterBottle15 for 15% off. All right, we are back, and we're going to get into it. Reunion part 1, which I think we kind of knew that it was going to be a slow burn.
I know, it's like, what?
It heated up towards the end.
Right. And it's not just this show. It's like they always do this. Like,
they
let's make it 3
out.
parts and not really talk about anything in the first one.
Well, because the 3 parts is just like a precedent now. It's like, if it's a decent season or worth anything at all, it has to have 3.
And then it's like, next week we're going to have Joe. It's like,
you don't care.
Waste of time.
I know, I don't want. We talked about this before, but I just don't feel like Brock needs to have a seat out there right now. Like,
no,
I don't get why that's happening.
And I didn't like the whole. It's it's like, I get it. They have kids. That's a big part of their life. But sometimes it's just such a. Like, you can't say anything bad, Yeah. It's like, I can't be like. Even if I want to say it, I can't be like, I don't care that you have been, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care if everybody's crying that you're like this good dad to one kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just I
know, but what then are you supposed to say? That, it's like, oh, you're so insensitive.
I know. It's like, what are you
horrible person?
Right. It's like, what am I supposed to say? Like, I don't want that in there, especially since we didn't talk about it at all.
We hardly. This season they didn't even. For that one their anniversary dinner, they brought it up.
Right. It's like we were talk about your kid, because that was like a little point of contention between him and Sheena.
I know. I understand why Ariana didn't watch because obviously she's been extremely busy.
Right.
But like, that's almost shocking. And I know this, we heard it before. That wasn't like it was just broken here, but
I don't know. I do think it would be really weird to like watch a whole season. Just like all that, even though she didn't really, it would be really hard to like have to sit there and watch your ex like put on a performance. But with that being said, I wish she would have watched this season so she could have known what was said.
What so many people were saying behind her back. Yes. And I feel like that is because Lisa Vanderpump was on Watch What Happens Live, and the one thing that they did was like, do you regret it or whatever? And Andy was like, do you regret not coming to was it the season 8 or season 9 reunion of Beverly Hills? I can't remember which one, but the one where she just was done with the show. And
bye, Kyle.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I don't regret it, because reunions are supposed to be where you come back together to kind of like work through stuff and mend it and reunite. And I had no desire to do that.
Right.
So it's kind of like Ariana coming to this without having watched everything. Right. It's like you're fully going in blind. And like, what's the point of being there if like you're not going to try and, I don't know, work through what was said? And then like, I just think it would be really uncomfortable to know, like, you've done this season after season. Like, you kind of know the drill. You know that they do these confessionals. And then you not watching any of it, like, you're going to be blindsided all the time.
Right.
At the reunion.
Right.
I don't know, like that was kind of shocking to me when she just, even though I already knew she didn't watch, when she was like, I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't watch any of this season. I was just like, oh, like to hear it come out of her mouth. It was just like, wow. So you have no idea how Sheena was talking. You have no idea how Lala was talking.
Right.
And you think these people are still your friends.
Right. I know. It's like, yikes.
Like that was just, it was like, I felt uncomfortable for her.
I know.
So I guess let's go from the top. So Lala stands by, she says she stands by what she said about Rachel at the reunion last year, which I think was bizarre because in her podcast previously,
doesn't stand by what she said.
She totally reneged on when she said that she was too harsh.
Yeah.
But now she's saying back again, I stand by it all. It's like, okay, I don't understand you. I did really like how Lala, it was brought up about like Sandoval was grooming Rachel, and he's like, that makes it seem like I'm a pedophile. And I liked when Lala was like, that is not the only context of that word, because it's not.
Right.
Like, I get that that is commonly used in that way, but it is to be a groomer or to be groomed does not only mean you are a minor.
Or like sexual grooming.
It's an older person manipulating somebody who is younger, but there's no age limits on that. So that was like the only time where I was like, yes, thank you, Lala, for saying that. And then when she was saying like she was impressionable, and then Sandoval said, I was impressionable when she took her clothes off and jumped in the pool, I literally gasped.
I gagged. I
could not believe that came out of his mouth.
And this is the guy that, again, I just can't figure out that Sheena wants to be friends with. And it's like, are you hearing this man? Like, literally, are you hearing this man? And then Schwartz coming in. She was
like, no,
she was even worse. I was like,
I think they were equally horrible.
I know,
like stop.
Come on. But I'm like, that's your true colors,
and
Schwartz.
To say for Sheena to be like, he truly is understanding. He's changing.
Yeah, does
And
that
then he
sound
comes
like it?
out with stuff
A
like
year,
that.
I know, that's what I cannot figure out. A year later, this is still how he's talking.
That was so repulsive, him
It
saying that. I
was.
was impressionable. How old are you?
Literally.
How old
Or
are
it's
you?
like, I don't know. She just took off all her.
She was hot and she was naked. What was I supposed to do?
Walk back in your house
Yeah.
to your longtime
I
girlfriend.
don't
That's what you
know.
were supposed to
Good
do.
God. Yeah, what does a decent human being do?
Right.
I mean, it was so... And like, then when they brought up the George Floyd stuff and the O.J. Simpson, and he still was trying to
I know. He's like, well,
it.
like, and then finally he's like, well, I guess I'm just kind of dumb.
Yeah, you are. And then when Andy said... you need to fire your PR team.
Literally.
Like, seriously. And I did like what,
Doopy.
you know, even Lala was trying to justify, which like,
I think that is
Yes.
what he meant, but like, there's so many other examples
of what he could have
to
said.
use.
I mean,
I
those
know.
are two, and just the fact that they're two Black men.
I know, like, it just didn't
Are
make
you
any
kidding
sense.
me?
And those both had to do with like murder.
Yeah.
It just,
Like, are you
it's just
serious?
so. I know, he could have literally said, even if he would have said things like George Floyd's situation are happening.
Yes.
And people are taking their attention away from, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's not what he said
he's like,
at all.
I was like George Floyd.
Or even when he said at the reunion, he's like, you know, I see the war in Ukraine and then Scandival. It's like, that doesn't make sense. That
You should
makes
have
sense
said
what you're
that. I
saying,
know, you
because that juxtaposition is insane.
Right.
But the way he painted it is just like unbelievable.
I'm like O.J. Simpson out here.
It's unbelievable.
It's like, what?
And then like Katie was like, intent and impression. It's
or
like
impact.
Or impact, yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what your intent was.
Right.
Your impact was
This.
overshadowed it
Right,
too. It's
right.
like, come on. Like, and I just feel like we're beating a dead horse by saying like he keeps exhibiting the same behaviors, and I keep getting so frustrated because it's like I don't get how people are defending him, and I know that
They're
we're on
wanting
a
to be his
reality
friend.
show. Like, I know that.
Right.
I know. But like, if he was showing one sliver of accountability and remorse, I could be like, you know what? We need to figure out, like, he shouldn't be crucified for that. Like, I
Right.
still don't think that he necessarily should be. Like, it was really horrible how, like, the media was completely
Right.
ganging up. Like, that was bad. But it's just like he did nothing to help himself.
I know, he's not getting it.
No,
and
he's
it's
so
embarrassing.
not self-aware.
No, he still doesn't get it. And then he's, you know, bashing Rachel, bashes Ariana. It's like just so stupid.
I
It's just
know.
dumb. I can't even watch it.
They bring up the lawsuit that Rachel has, but you know, they can't even talk about it.
I
So
know.
it's
I
just
wish they
like-
literally didn't even bring that up. Like, why are we even giving that any
I know
breath?
they gave her like a solid 5 minutes
I
of
know.
time, which I was annoyed by.
I know, and I mean, it is the elephant in the room, but at the same time,
Keep it
she's
there.
not. I know, it's like she's not on the show.
I know. So don't talk about it, or
Right.
don't say her name. You know what I
Literally.
mean? Like, that was, okay. So this is what we had talked about before with like trigger warning, Sandoval's suicidal ideations being brought up. Did you notice how multiple times through this, they, in a commercial, and then at the end, they showed like the 988 hotline, and then during Watch What Happens Live at the end, they did it again. It came up on screen,
maybe
and I'm
'cause
just
they
like,
got backlash for
are
literally
you
doing
serious?
nothing.
Yeah, like that was insane. And then even like when they brought it up for him this time, that one time was there mention of, you know, Bravo intervened by doing this, or like gave these resources, or Tom's in therapy, like nothing.
Mm-mm.
It was like, it was unfathomable to me.
I know, for your cast member, Whether he means it or not, he still said it on screen, and you guys did nothing.
Like, that is crazy.
I know, it's unacceptable.
It really is. And then just like, I don't know how we're normalizing, like, for him to say he was legitimately suicidal, and then now to like no mention of him going to therapy himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is, I can't even wrap my head around that.
I know.
I really cannot.
Disappointing.
And then when he's like, well, I don't even understand how I used Ariana's mental health against her. Are you?
I know.
How
well, and then he's like,
dense?
but I didn't say it on the show. You said it on
You did say it on the show.
And they put it on it's like,
it was in Howie Mandel.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I'm saying. Like, they didn't say anything about that interview. They just said, well, you said it publicly.
Yeah, but that's what, like, when Lisa was saying, like, trying to make the point that you were the one that brought it up to Sheena while cameras were rolling.
Right.
You had that conversation with Ariana privately.
Right, and you told her.
Yeah.
Instead of, when you told it about yourself, that's one
completely
thing.
different. And I mean, we don't need to rehash this again, but like, I'm going to right now. When I can 100% see in that moment for Ariana, it is feeling like your world is completely shattering. And like, she probably said a lot of things that she didn't want to follow through with.
Right.
But in the emotion of the moment, it felt like everything was shattering and gone.
Right.
So like, and because she has struggled and been open about her mental health struggles in the past, it's like, that to me seems totally logical that she would be feeling that way.
Right.
And in turn, she did get help for that.
Right.
It's like, how are you not understanding that you weaponized this?
Right.
Like, it's just, I don't know. And then this is the one time where Sheena did stand up for Ariana with the whole, like, when she was like, when Tom was like, but, and she's like, no, that's the end of the sentence.
Right.
I was like, thank you, Sheena. Like, you're on the right side here. And we already talked about like the George Floyd thing. I'm glad that Andy was like calling him out on that too, because that was like, come on. We touched a little bit on the Brock kid situation, and everybody was kind of emotional about that. But, I do think that it is, his relationship with Summer is very nice. I'm not doubting that Brock is a good father right now.
Right.
It's just like when you hear stuff about his other children and we're trying to be like, well, they don't want a relationship with me. Well, I mean, I can see why.
Right. Or like, I don't know. It's like such a touchy subject, but it's like, you're the adult.
Yeah.
Reach out to them. Write them letters. I don't know, something.
And like, I get that you're respecting whatever. I understand that. But like, how do you think that
Just
they feel
right.
when you are now a public figure with the family that you just completely moved on with?
Right. And you're like posting about it. They can look it right up and see exactly what you're doing.
And I'm not saying that he needs to completely stop everything with his life and like that he shouldn't have moved on in a way. But it's just like, put yourself in your other children's shoes for a second.
Right.
Like how painful this whole situation must be. Like, it doesn't matter to them that you're paid up with your child support.
Right.
They don't care about that.
Right.
Like, it's everything else. All the times that you weren't there before. Like, side note, have you ever seen one of those TikToks? Or I saw some for Mother's Day, and it was like a slideshow, and it would be like the one I saw that was really emotional was like a son with his mom, and it was like quotes, "Oh, sorry, I couldn't make it to your game," and then the kid's like, "It's okay, my mom was there," and it goes through this whole thing, and it's like at the end of it, the kid is grown and is finally like, I think I need to stop doing this with you. I have my other parent. I like recognizing that. And I just feel like that's kind of with the Brock situation. It's like, you probably had a lot of chances in the past and you did not, maybe you weren't ready or whatever, but it's just like to think that you're going to be able to repair this just because now you're a good dad. That isn't really a fair expectation.
Right. Or it just doesn't even seem like he's trying to repair it.
Yeah.
So I know. I don't know.
And we're not seeing a lot. So it's hard to really...
I know. I just thought it was weird that everyone was getting like all emotional about it. I'm like, okay.
Like there's obviously more that we haven't seen that, you know, is said between them and we just don't know all about it. But
I did think the stuff with like Lala and the Brock thing, and then the explanation was kind of like bizarre, where she's like, well, yeah, I am gonna look at him a certain way because he stepped up. I was like, stepped up to be a dad to your, I don't know, that
you're gonna look at him with longing eyes.
I know.
I didn't get that either.
I know. I thought it was kind of. Then they're like, we're a throuple. Okay, it's all fun and games now.
Well, and I think that you can look, like I could watch your husband like play with your kids and be like, wow, like that is so lovely and so beautiful to see. And what a great dad he is. And just look at him with like admiration.
Right.
But like that is very different from
like,
I want to sleep with you.
Right.
There's a connection here. You know, like
you're the dad to my kid.
I feel so much love for you.
Right.
Like that's different.
I know, that whole thing was kind of like,
her explanation was very weak.
I know. I was like, I wasn't suspicious. Now I am.
I know. Like I literally wasn't at all this whole time.
I'm like, oh, that's definitely not happening. Then she's like, I might look at him a certain way. I was like, you're admitting
you need to clarify
looking at him a certain way? Like, I wouldn't know. Like, I don't know. That would have been a little weird.
And also poor Sheena, because she's been so open about like her postpartum OCD and like that comment, she will probably spiral.
I know, she's trying like,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a little. And then when they were doing the Schwartz and Lala thing, I was like,
okay, I thought when they put the little montage together that it was so clearly not flirtatious from like Lala's end at all. And I think Katie was the one that was like, maybe a little from Schwartz.
Right.
But it was like that hit like a freaking lead balloon. I know, I was like nothing was there. And then every time when Lala's like, I would tear him apart. I would eat him alive.
I was like,
what do you even mean by that?
I know, like what did that mean?
Like sexually, mentally, physically. Like I don't get it.
Literally. As if like Randall was some...
Yeah, right. Oh, Randall could handle me. Like, really?
I can't even. So embarrassing.
I know, like, that just didn't even make any sense. James kind of brings up a little bit, like he was activated a little bit talking about the Rachel breakup thing. And just when they brought up how Ariana moving forward with Dan was viewed quite differently than James moving forward with Allie. And I do see like why that would be a touchy subject for him, especially since we said before that we feel like he's been very subdued this season because like obviously this type of stuff and the breakup and then how he was perceived by the or received by the group after that is still really affecting him, and he hasn't really been able to talk about it.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting when he was like, you know, everybody pretty much took Rachel's side, and I didn't know like where I even fit in with everybody.
Right.
And that wasn't really something that was talked about much before.
Right.
But then they all like got pissed at him too and were like, get over it. I'm like, what Well, I mean,
Too bad.
I think he can like still
thought he was
have a
gonna marry this
feeling.
girl.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of like this like on this show specifically, everybody being like, get over it to everybody. And it's like, you can be like moving on with your life and still be, you know, and like seem happy and moving on, but also not.
Well, I thought
like, I don't know. I just think it's weird to like think that like James can be and Ariana can be in new relationships. That doesn't mean they're not still able to mourn what they went through. Like, I don't know.
Well, and that's why I thought it was kind of weird, because that's basically what Ariana said. And I think, like, did Andy pose the question of like, you know, when do you think you'll be healed or something to that effect? And she's like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of a journey and it might take me a long time, but like, I'm working towards that. And she was just saying exactly what you said. Like, I can still be moving forward with my life while still healing from the trauma of what happened. But then when James is like bringing up that he was affected by the breakup and how people treated him post, and when he got with Allie, it was like that was totally diminished. I'm like, well, but it's kind of the same, and I don't know why he's not allowed to feel it.
Like, I know. It just is weird that that's been this whole narrative the whole season of like, no, get over it. It's like, no.
Like, he doesn't and then when people online will be like, well, James still is so affected by Rachel. You can tell. And like, poor Allie, and he shouldn't be with her. It's like, but like, two things can be true at the same time.
Right. Like, and it's, I think people forget too that when you're like in a relationship with somebody, especially for, you know, a few years even, it's like you're like having a whole life with somebody in like a different way. And then when that's over, that's like an adjustment. Like, you're having a completely different life. Even if you are with somebody, it can still be like, but this was my life, you know, a year ago, and now it's totally different. It's like, that's a very like jarring situation.
Yeah. And you're thinking about, you know, for most people who are in long-term relationships, they're thinking about the future and making plans. And then if that,
scrap it all.
Yeah. It's like, that's hard. Like, you're triggered by things that you don't even realize. You know, or like, say, like, you and your ex had planned a trip to Florida, and you've never thought about that until a year later when you're
planning a new one.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh my God,
I could be
we
here
planned
with that
this.
person.
Yeah, like, that can really hit you out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. I don't know. It's just such a weird narrative. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, and just how it's like everybody heals differently. Everybody moves on differently and at different paces. So it just is such a common theme on this show, where if one person is over it or a couple people are moved through, then they think everybody should be. But it's like, okay.
Or it's like, well, your situation isn't as bad, so you should be over it before.
Yeah.
Or even like, I think I snapped you this when I was like, you know, Lala's over here, get over it, stop holding on to anger, blah, 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 blah. But she is not
over the Randall. I mean, literally in this episode, she's
still talking about it in a way that doesn't sound very over it. And then I think I told you too, I'm like, you fully won't even have a kid with another man.
That's how not over it you are.
It's like, that is, I don't know. That's kind of next level.
Yeah. So how
something.
Are you?
Let's sit there and
it's
tell
just
Ariana
the pot calling the kettle black.
I know. And it's like, well, I didn't kill somebody.
Like we said before,
he killed my heart. He killed my heart, and he killed it.
There's like your little like twisted liner, like hers, nothing about her.
Yeah, like, there we go. He murdered my heart.
But like we said, is that the absolute like lowest we're gonna go? That's our baseline. Like, there's nothing else that you could do that could
it's
be
like
hurtful.
Stab me 17 times, but I didn't die, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, like what?
I know. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, and then just like when you're with somebody for a long time, but then you're not with them anymore, it isn't that they feels like they died, but you don't have access to them anymore.
But sometimes it can feel.
Yeah, it's like this person is completely gone from your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and even with, like everybody has said, they're living in the same home, but their relationship isn't the same.
I know, they're not hanging out.
One morning she woke up and thought that they were, maybe going through a rough time, but they're working through it. She's supporting him at his gig. And then the next morning she woke up and everything is over and her life is flipped upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so traumatizing.
I know. It's like, that wasn't what she had. I don't know. It's just so frustrating. People
and honestly, like, this is going to sound very dramatic, but I think people who have been through like these types of breakups will understand it. Sometimes you would rather that person just be like dead or gone.
Right. Because it's like you almost, in a way, like you don't have access to them, but they still exist.
Yeah.
Like you could still see them.
Yeah.
Or like they are still breathing.
Right. They're there. And especially for them, like nobody moved to a different country.
Right.
Even if
you're literally working together.
Yeah. Like even if they move to different places, they still work together. People say all the time that LA is like still a small place, even though it's a big city. Like
you have friends together.
Yeah.
You have, they knew each other's relatives.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not this, it's just, I just don't know how people can't see it.
I know. And I was even talking to some coworkers about it the other day. This was Monday, like before Monday or Tuesday, it doesn't matter. It was before I watched the reunion. And they're like, well, I just feel like, Ariana's being really dramatic. And I'm just like, hold on a second. Can we please, for the 20 millionth time, remember that this is being filmed a few short months after she found out about this affair.
Right.
Like, can we please remember that?
I know that it's like, you don't have to agree with everything Ariana's doing and saying, but you have to acknowledge
the timeline.
Yes. Like you have to acknowledge, even now.
Yeah.
It's like, it just doesn't matter if things are going well. Or like I've seen some people be like, she was yelling at Schwartz so aggressively. And it was like, because she's sick of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just so.
And even this was filmed in March.
Right.
So it was like, because they said.
Anniversary.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
I know.
Like,
literally, that does not, like, I can't even compute that people can't compute
No,
that.
I can't understand. I mean, I think if we literally were watching this like live, like these episodes were actually happening in real time when we're seeing it on screen, then people would have a little bit more of a case for like, whoa, she still is activated by these things and it's been a year. But that's not the case.
Right.
Like that is not the reality that we're living in. We're seeing these episodes so far after they were filmed.
And it's like, how much patience can you have for, a month or 2 months? People continuously shoving your ex in your face.
Yeah.
That literally cheated on you. It's like, you're not going to react nicely.
No.
I'm sorry. Nobody would. That's what I cannot stand. I'm like, also, so you're telling me you would be like, oh, hi, Sandoval, let's hug each other.
Why would producers, cast, anybody, why would they even want that? That's what's also baffling. Like, would you have been satisfied or happy to turn on this season 11, and see that suddenly Tom and Ariana were friends?
BFFs? It's like, that wouldn't even make sense.
No. So like this whole time where they just are like, they have to be able to coexist, blah, 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 they need to have a conversation. But like, how does that help you? Like, it's actually, it makes more sense, and it seems like you would get better ratings that they are so separated.
Right. Instead of like this, it was just
it
so
doesn't
bizarre.
make any
It made
sense
a terrible
at all.
season.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. Moving forward, they talk about something about her, and they say that when we watch this, it will be open, which it is not. And we know, I don't know if they didn't know when this was going to air. They were a couple weeks off, but I really hope it opens on the 22nd. But I was a little annoyed. I saw this on Twitter too, where like Lisa was questioning, where she was like, I think you guys could have moved through this stuff faster. Lisa being more seasoned and having more experience, I believe that she probably could have. I have no idea the ins and outs of the restaurant industry, especially in the Hollywood area. But what annoyed me online was that when she said like the disagreements and Ariana being away, like the way that she said that, like for me, when I heard it, it was very clear of like the disagreements that you guys had, comma, space, Ariana being away. Those were things that contributed maybe to some of the delays. But like Ariana and Katie heard it as disagreements about Ariana being away. And it was all over Twitter of people being like, there were no disagreements. But then later in the episode, we hear that Katie was saying some stuff, and there might have been some little frustrations or disagreements about Ariana being away. So it's like, I feel like Ariana and Katie ended up talking through that.
Right.
And then them hearing, like misinterpreting what Lisa said, like they were like, wait, how does she know about that? Right. And then Lala comes out like a little snake later in the episode.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And then brings it up fully that like, oh, we did have this conversation.
Right.
But like, for me, I don't think that, like, I feel like that would be frustrating for both of them, that they're trying to open this business. And no offense to Katie, but like, she did not have very much going on. Like Ariana had a million things going on. Right. So like, of course, her focus was probably more the sandwich shop. And then it was probably hard with Ariana not being around. Right. You know, like that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was annoying how everybody online was like trying to freaking tear apart Lisa, which there were many parts where I was annoyed with her, but that one was not, like, she didn't mean it how they took it. And we already said Ariana said that she watched nothing. And then we come into the Lala and Katie stuff. Like we said multiple times in the past, you are allowed to say things off camera or have like venting about somebody or someone.
Or even just needing a different perspective. Yeah. Like, am I crazy? Should I be annoyed about, you know, it's like people do it all the time.
Yeah. Or like, you know, maybe when she saw the news about Broadway on Instagram, she was so pissed because, you know, it was her business partner, and she called Lala because she's not going to call Ariana and be mad about it. She wants to cool down for a second and then they can talk about it. It's like, that is normal. That is not weird.
I know. I didn't think it was that. I mean, I don't even know. It's like there was probably definitely, although the timeline. So Lala's acting like through this season, Katie and everybody's just hates Ariana.
Yeah.
But the Broadway stuff wasn't even announced until like right after right at the end of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So it's like she's acting like Katie's been like this through filming this like two-faced person, when that's I don't know, that was just kind of like a weird because they point to then make.
Did they finish filming in August or was it early September? Around it has to be around that, right?
Yeah, I don't think they filmed that far into I feel like August or July even, because they don't film very long.
No. So it was probably...
Well, whatever. They didn't know about Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Katie probably wasn't feeling a type of way through the summer. And then when the couple months ago, when
it just,
it's just like a weird point to bring up about the season when it didn't have anything to do.
on this season. Yeah. And then how she's like, people are living in the comment section, and Katie, Sheena, James, which that was like, weird. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all. It
didn't change his season.
Yeah. And like, James has been very consistent about his view on this the entire time.
I know,
so I don't get what you're trying. And I don't really think that James is going to Lala to vent about Ariana. Like, how would that affect him at all?
I know, I didn't even
She was just throwing everybody under the bus. But then somebody had pointed out that, like, are you talking about the comment section from last season?
I know, that's what I was, or is she talking about now? Like, her timeline
was making
weird.
Sense.
Yeah, like, does she mean as of now, after this, as the season's going on? Or back from the previous season's comments?
Because even if, like, they filmed this reunion in March, and the only reason, I mean, I don't like remember that, but I saw a clip and they said something about St. Patrick's Day, an early St. Patrick's Day, and I'm like, okay, it's March. But like, even then, we haven't been into the season that much for these people to fully be living in the comment section. And even if they were, that wouldn't have affected what was already filmed. Like, I didn't understand at all what she was trying to...
No,
Did she mean what they're saying in the after show?
Right.
Like,
I really don't know what she's talking about. Like, I believe that they've been reading comments, but I just don't know what she's talking about.
Especially Sheena, because Sheena says that she is in the comments.
Right. So it's like, it was just kind of a weird, like, it just kind of felt like something Sandoval would do. Like
twisting stuff around. Yeah. And then I guess I didn't watch the after show because I just didn't have time. And then I guess they had the like uncut, uncensored version on Peacock. I didn't watch that either because I didn't have time. But I heard on the after show that she goes in again and is saying like this conversation that she had on a 2-way call with Jeremiah, that producer, and Katie. And that is apparently when Katie like was all mad about Ariana stuff. But to me, it's like, it's not on this season. It's not while cameras are filming. Like, you can... it
just doesn't have anything to do. Right. It's like, it doesn't have anything to do with the way Katie was this season.
I don't think that means that Katie is being fake or two-faced.
No. It means she got frustrated by something after the fact.
Yeah. I just... And then, I don't get the point that she's trying to make here.
Me either. She's trying to deflect. That's what she's trying to do. Like, no, you guys are all fake. I look at everyone so differently now.
And then just, I mean, what she keeps doing is like, before when they started talking about kind of how Katie and Lala had got into it earlier in the season, how like Lala again just is continuously comparing her situation to everybody else's. And it just, that's not, even with like, you know, what you're sharing on camera. Okay, maybe you want to spew what I text you when we were talking about it. Maybe you want to say horrible, nasty things to somebody's face and then turn around the next day and have a dinner with them and apologize.
Right.
But like, other people don't want to do that.
I know, like, it's just so annoying. It's like we talked about the other day. It's like, if you were talking about your other friends to me and then I just decided to be like, Ailish was saying that. Why don't you confront them about this? Like, that's not why you do that. I know, like, that is actually insane behavior.
And that's not a good friend.
No, it's like, I'm frustrated, so I'm telling you about it because I don't want to be evil to somebody else. And it's like, sometimes you can just need to say why you're mad about something and then you just get over it.
And I would fully rather have a friend be annoyed by something I did that wasn't like that big of a deal.
Right.
Talk about it behind my back.
Right.
And then I never find out about it.
Because it's like, what's the...
Why
I just don't
hurt
get the
somebody
point.
like that?
Exactly. Like, I don't need to like, like... maybe if you're having an affair with my other friend, like if I'm Tom Schwartz, and you're telling me you're having, and you're Sandoval, and you're telling me, you should probably confront them to their face about what they're doing.
That's
but
decent.
Other stuff, it's like
no.
Why can't you be a little like? It's just that is such a crappy thing to do.
I know. It's so vindictive and childish. Honestly.
I know. It was
that
so
was
immature.
The behavior. Like I can distinctly remember my behavior when I was in like 3rd grade
Literally.
or like 2nd grade. Like
you don't like him either.
Yeah.
Or you don't like her either.
And hearing information from one friend and then immediately going to that person and being like, so-and-so just told me that they don't like you.
It's like, it's so...
Why would you do that? As a grown adult, why would you do that? And you can't hide behind the ruse of, we're filming a reality show.
Right.
Because that isn't reality. Like, a sane person wouldn't do that to people.
I know.
If they weren't filming. Like, they wouldn't do that. That's just... it's just terrible. And it's just like, everybody should take note. Like, Sheena, Lala's your bestie now.
Yeah, this
like,
is the kind of stuff she does.
Yeah. She's going to wait for the perfect moment and then use that stuff against you. And you're going to look like a complete fool.
I know.
And like, I felt bad for Katie. I mean, I do think that one of Katie's flaws is that she can be very hot and say very mean things. And then like, forget that she said them. Or
I know, like, do I believe Lala when she said like she kind of got a rage message?
Yeah,
from
100%. I
Katie,
believe
it's
that.
like, I think Lala took some of it a little bit out of context.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I want to actually see the message. Why didn't Bravo pull that up?
Yeah, no kidding.
But like, I think that she was a little bit uncomfortable because, she was surprised that she was being called out in this way.
I know. And she's like, well, remember 3 weeks ago when you said...
Yeah,
like
and you could tell that she was a little, like, flustered.
I know.
Like, she couldn't fully pull
right
it together. But that's where it's like... And then she posted this apology, basically, on her Instagram, which is so unnecessary.
No,
it is so unnecessary.
Literally. It's like, I said... And clearly, I know Ariana and Katie seem to be perfectly fine now. But it's like, that could have, and the thing is, like, we've seen Ariana like a million times have like little even this season, have confrontations with people and they apologize to each other and she's okay with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sure Katie, if she wanted to, could have went to Ariana and maybe they already had that conversation. It was just crazy that Lala brought it up.
Well, from the post that she put on her Insta stories, it seems like they eventually did talk about it because I think she made some mention of like, we worked through this or whatever, or maybe she meant post reunion. I don't know.
Right.
But like, I can definitely see a situation where, like Ariana isn't there a lot for the sandwich shop stuff.
Right.
Katie's getting frustrated after she vents to another friend, or so she thought. She's able to then have time with Ariana and be like, this is really hard to do by myself right now.
Right.
Like, you being gone, I'm so happy for you, but we're not going to get this open with just me. Like, there's decisions and I don't know what to do and I'm frustrated. Like, I can 100% see that. That makes sense.
Right. I know. It's so crappy of and then she's got the nerve now to be like, I look at everyone differently now. And it's like, it wasn't Katie being dishonest the whole season, like the way she's saying it. I don't know, it's just so crappy.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, and it's honestly just kind of like, you are a pathetic excuse for a friend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
because you're mad at somebody, you're going to use things they said against them, Sandoval.
And try to make it seem like, I'm sick of this. I can't do this anymore. I'm the only one that cares about this show and is doing anything to help it. And
I know.
I have to clear the air.
I just seen a thing today that she said her back hurt from carrying the show.
Are you kidding? Like, what did she watch?
And honestly, I kind of want to be like, well, since you stopped drinking, not really.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Just saying.
Disclaimer.
She should stop drinking.
Don't cancel us.
I'm just saying, it's like, well,
suddenly we're involved in the Bravo lawsuits.
Yeah, no kidding. But it does, like, I don't know, like, not every time, every season. And then I don't know, I was looking at something or reading something, listening to something. Somebody was like bringing up the time Ariana told Lala after her dad died that she was going to have to like toughen up kind of and like get over it. But she was coming at it, you know, and they were like making a big deal about that. And I was like, she was coming at it because Lala was stomping around being an absolute nightmare to everybody.
Yeah.
And she's like, and everybody was walking on eggshells with her per usual anyway, but it was extra bad that time. And I felt like she was being like, we can't all just walk on eggshells around you anymore. And she's like, after my dad died, everybody was awful to me. It's like, you can't expect everyone, because you're going through a really hard time, to just bend over backwards for you all the time. And that's what I felt like she was saying. But
yeah.
And then, but yet Lala, and obviously a parent or a loved one dying is different than being cheated on. But it's like, you're still going through a hard time. And she's like, shut up, get over it. It's like, well,
it's still
you
a
don't
loss.
get
It's
over
a kind
anything.
Of loss. Yeah. She is a hypocrite.
She is it. Only Lala can be affected by things. She has it the worst out of everybody in the entire world.
Yep. Don't even try to come with your sadness.
And then it's like, not to be like insensitive, but it's like she always brings up her child, and it's like you can't even touch it. Like you can't even touch it. What are you supposed to say?
When she
literally,
brought up
Katie was like,
"Yeah, one of my
her
hands were just in the air." Like, okay. When she said that just annoys me so much. And she's like, "Don't take food out of my kid's mouth. This is my livelihood." Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, again, am I missing something? Like, what is taking what? And also, what are these huge empires that you have? Right. I feel that I am confused. I am out of the loop.
Who are you to say that nobody else has something going on? Like, you don't know what people are, and we're not acknowledging Katie's podcast that she has now, apparently.
Or we're just not. And also, like, she's taking the something about her seriously. She did want to do that.
Right.
Is it tougher than they thought? Yeah. But, like, she still is working towards that. So who are you to diminish that? And I don't, is Give Them Lala Baby still successful? I mean, I was under the impression that she made these millions of dollars solely on the Send It to Daryl merch. I don't
know. I literally don't know.
And I know she has her podcast.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't understand. Like, are things more successful than I thought? I just don't know why she's acting as if this is going to completely affect all of her businesses.
Right. And it's not for her to decide who has something going on, who doesn't. It's like, it's just such a low. And you guys are all reality stars. Like, I don't know what
nobody is directly coming for her businesses.
But she's taking it to that level immediately. And it's
no one is saying your podcast sucks. Your podcast is filled with lies. Your makeup is horrible. Like, no one is saying that.
No. And
they're talking about you as a person.
Right. And it's
sorry
just
that
like,
offends you.
Lala, you're not the only person out here with a freaking kid.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people on the world
and
that
even
have
if you
children.
don't have a kid, I still would like to survive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Such
Like,
a bizarre, like she has to throw the kid thing out there all the time. You're not the only person on this planet that has a child.
But no one can rebuttal for that. It's
Literally,
like conversation done.
Like,
that's what she's used it with Schwartz. She's used it with countless other people. It's like there's nothing else you can say. Yeah.
I know, like, okay.
And now that she's having another kid, it's like it's just going to be ramped up even more.
Well, you know what, Lala? You almost single-handedly ruined the season. So
yeah. I mean, she did. She really did. So that's where this ends up, was kind of their little tiff. And then I just had a couple points about Watch What Happens Live. I already said Lisa was on and Gordon Ramsay, because apparently they have like a new food show coming out or something.
Yeah, I've seen the preview for it. Also, I didn't watch What Happens Live, but when they walked out, I was like, Gordon Ramsay is tall.
I thought he looked amazing.
He
too.
did.
I'm like,
he is what, like 6'8"? I'm about to look
oh my
it
God.
up.
It was so freaking funny. The chemistry between these two was unbelievable. And both of them were like unhinged and being so sassy. And it was a great watch. But at one point, like Andy was like
6'2"?
Well, how tall do you think Lisa is?
He was, because I thought like he was towering over Andy, and Andy
I don't
always
think
looked
Andy's
tall.
that tall.
He looked taller.
Uh-oh, we said this was Hannah's secret talent. No. I bet Andy's...
Oh yeah, he's 5'9".
Yeah, I don't think Andy seems that tall. But Andy was like, you two seem like you're gonna hook up tonight. This is crazy. And then Gordon's like they mentioned something about age, and Gordon's like, well, I've never slept with anybody over 60. And then Lisa goes, I haven't either. Their chemistry was just really funny.
That's cute.
Anne was behind the bar.
I did hear that.
Which was cute. I think Anne is just very wholesome. She's a little quirky, annoying, but still.
Is her real last name Maddox?
But it's more like Maddox. But they keep saying it like the same as, it's Maddox.
Oh, because I was like,
I know. Isn't that weird?
Is that supposed to be a joke?
But she gave the update that she is currently working at something about her, and that she had been working for Sandoval for 3 years, which I don't know if I missed something, but I thought that she was hired post Sandoval.
I didn't know any. I didn't even know they like had assistants until, I guess,
they needed a mediator.
Right.
Yeah, I was shocked that she had been working for him prior to that. So she's seen a lot of stuff. And Andy was like, did you seriously not have any type of inkling about this? And she's like, I mean, no, like when you're in it, you didn't see that. And she's like, yeah, there were, times where like Rachel was staying over, but it just seems like a lot of people would stay in the guest room. There would be a party, people would stay. Like it wasn't a full-on red flag, but I was just like, wow, I didn't know she worked for him for that long.
I didn't even know she existed
before we heard her on, her as the go-between. Yeah. And then, like I said, Lisa was being so shady. There were so many things that she was saying that were just so shady. Like, I would recommend watching it just because it was funny. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing that I would really like point out as like it being newsworthy. It was just funny to watch. And then, like I said at the top of our conversation about this, when Andy brought up to Lisa about like Tom Sandoval's suicidal ideations on the like lower third, the 988 came up again on the screen, and it just irked me so much. Like I'm just like, I just am so angered by this.
What does that even do?
You didn't do this before.
Speaking of living in the comments, bravo.
Yeah, I mean, all the other episodes, they brought this up. They didn't have a disclaimer. They didn't put it at the end of the episode. If you need treatment, if you're struggling with your mental health, nothing, not one thing.
Nope.
And now it was like 3 times. Like I could not believe it. I mean, I think it's good. They should have been doing that from the beginning, but it's just like, you weren't doing it before, and then now all of a sudden.
Well.
So anyway, I guess we'll just see how next week goes. I don't know. I saw that the 7-minute preview was out, but I don't watch those because I just don't want to see that long of a preview.
Yeah, I don't really like go out of my way to see those.
No. So we'll see. I'll probably watch the uncensored version at some point this weekend just because it'll be something to do. But I doubt that there's like anything earth shattering in that.
Mm-hmm.
We would have heard it by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
We're gonna continue to be activated for 2 more weeks. And then are you gonna watch any of Jersey?
I don't think so.
I know I kind of want to watch that
Unless
first
I binge
episode.
it. Yeah, unless I like let it accumulate.
Because I don't know if I want to go there.
It's just I know it's just like the fan. I don't know. I'm just not.
Jersey to me, and when I heard everything going on with like the Twitter stuff, where apparently like Teresa and somebody else were like kind of working undercover with these other people to put stuff out on Twitter so then they could talk about it on the show. And I heard somebody say like, how is that? Like we were mad that Monica had this spam account, but we're not gonna. Yeah, I just don't like that kind of behavior.
It's the housewives are just getting too like manufactured to the point where it's just not even like what are we even watching?
I know.
It's like the Kardashians.
I know. I can't. I mean, we started watching that. Was that like 2 seasons ago? I don't even know what they like seem to be popping those out really fast.
I know.
The other thing we didn't talk about was Dorit and PK. Were you surprised or were you like?
I don't know. I mean, no. Especially when he faked the armed robbery.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly.
But then, that was something that Lisa said on Watch Happens Live. She's like, no, I wasn't surprised because, we do have some mutual friends. And I had heard that he'd been staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel for quite some time, like on again, off again over many months. So I'm like, okay, like you guys were kind of hiding your issues this whole time.
Like, again, it's just like, but then it's like, if you're going through a hard point in your marriage and you're hoping that it's gonna, or like in any relationship and you're hoping it's gonna work itself out, maybe you don't want it to be on TV, but it's just like such an odd.
I know.
Then the season's over. We're getting a divorce.
I know. Like I get it.
But
especially
then
when kids are involved.
Right. But then it's like weird. But yeah. I don't know. I just feel like he wanted a wife that didn't need him. That would just take care of the kids. So then she like needs him.
And a lot of it is the PTSD from a manufactured crime. Yeah.
Allegedly, maybe.
Allegedly, we don't know.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I do feel like there still is love there. We talked about that when we watched Beverly Hills last season. Like, I do think that, like, they could work through this stuff, but there must have been something else that happened that, like, made them officially announce a separation.
Right.
But I don't care about that right now, honestly. I'm just like,
we'll see.
It'll play out however it plays out. Okay, I was thinking about what my recommendation would be, and I'm going to recommend that if people haven't tried it before, to try a Stairmaster. Because at the Y that I've been going to, they have one, and I just like started using it, and I sweat like crazy when I use this freaking Stairmaster. Even if I'm only on it for like 25 minutes, I am just dripping like a freaking psychopath.
Right.
And I had never used one before, shockingly enough. And yeah, I do enjoy it. And I don't really have much of a butt. So I'm hoping that can work a miracle. So that's what I would say. Give the Stairmaster a try.
I am gonna recommend that Mina Lee's YouTube channel because she has some cool like commentary stuff. She used to do a lot with like fashion, but she does more well, she will like do stuff with that sometimes, but she does a lot of like kind of what's going on. And then she'll do like the history of certain stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's just I like the way she formats her videos. So
Are they long?
sometimes they'll be long, like a 40-minute one. Sometimes they're not quite that long. So.
Well, we both like long form.
We do. It's nice. Let's really get into the meat of something.
I want to hear people talk for hours.
Hours and hours.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. Don't forget about our socials. Don't forget about our YouTube that exists. And please, for the love of all things good, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you only like us a little bit, just give us a 5-star. It doesn't hurt you to do it. And It only helps us. And that would be really kind on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you have a little bit of extra time, you can leave a nice review. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.